Today I welcome Bob Duncan, a long-time parent of Elite Sports Academy and long-time friend. We can call each other friends off the field. Bob, thank you for joining us today.
Morning, Matt. Thanks for inviting me.
How are you doing?
Very well, yes.
Good. Enjoying the heat?
Bedding into summer again, yes.
Absolutely. It's that time of year, isn't it? So Bob is a long-standing parent. I'm not going to give too much away about it. I'm going to let Bob do the talking. So we'll start with you, Bob. How long have you been in Dubai? What's your story? What brought you here? And what led you to Elite Sports Academy?
I've been in Dubai, Matt, for almost 20 years now. Came across in 2006. I work in the oil and gas industry. Since that time, I played a bit of football here to begin with. That's kind of how I got to know one of the directors at Elite, Stephen Whittaker. Him and I played for a team together here in Dubai back in 2008. Remained in close contact with Steve, and it was through Steve that once I became a father, I initially put my first born son into Elite. It would probably been the football academy, going back 2015 maybe when he first started. And since then, I've put my other two sons into the academy as well. So I've got experience going back probably 10 or so years of mostly on the football side of things, but also multi-sports and some of the swimming academy experience as well.
Yeah, so we were chatting before we came on. So we'll mention them, Alex, Jan and Ethan.
That's correct.
Going back, like you said, it would have been, I think, 2016, 2017 when I first joined the academy.
Yep.
I think we went back down memory lane and established that I was Jan's first coach, Alex's first coach, and then subsequently Jan's first coach.
That's right.
Back at Horizon English School.
That's right.
When we obviously used to have a partnership there. So the boys have obviously been in the football academy, swimming. So we'll talk probably more about Alex because I know Alex is the longest standing and is still with us. So talk about his journey. Obviously, he's gone through from primary school, foundation stage 2. He's now at secondary school, and he's obviously continued his journey. So you can mention coaches' names, coaches he's been with over the years, obviously starting with myself all the way up to now. And probably more so how you've seen Alex, Jan and Ethan grow and develop as characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most important things in terms of the experience I've had, I would say, as well as the ability or the facilities, if you like, for kids to become better athletes, if you like. It's also how the coaches and the sort of culture at Elite is to develop young people as individuals and as human beings,
rather than just the sports.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, it's a world-class facility in terms of the coaches that look after the kids. I mean, it's all very high standards of coaching, but I think one of the overriding consistent factors I've seen over the years is how the coaches interact with the kids and how the kids then evolve into growing up with the right morals and the right ethics. So it's not just about developing them as football players or swimmers or gymnasts or basketball players. It's actually how kids can learn from the coaches to become better human beings.
Yeah, completely agree. Obviously, it's part of our DNA and our standpoint of nurture, develop, grow, and obviously those three elements of what we constantly strive to ensure that the children are getting from their sessions. We talk about obviously football and the swimming many years ago that they've done on a weekly basis, but obviously aside to that as well, we have our holiday camp provision, which I know the boys are often frequenting. I'm hoping it wouldn't just be a case of you want them out of the house. No. But they obviously they're desperate to be there and make new friends, play different sports. And how valuable has that been to you as a parent?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we look at both the football coaching sessions, I mean, at the moment, just to set the scene, Alex attends 2 sessions a week at Jess Jumeirah. I mean, that's the other thing I should point out as well, is that the locations of the coaching sessions all across Dubai. So wherever you live in Dubai, there's a facility or a session within probably 10, 15 minutes by car. We're fortunate where we live is close proximity to 2 venues, actually, DBS and also Jess Jumeirah.
And arguably Jess Jumeirah Baccalaureate School as well, which I know they don't play their sport at, but it's only a stone's throw away as well from you. You're pretty well situated, aren't you?
So I mean, we're fortunate in that respect that it's probably 5 minutes by car to one of the venues we can actually walk to to JBS. We've elected not to put the kids there because they have a very good relationship with some of the coaches at Jess Jumeirah. So we've kind of followed the coach as opposed to considering just first and foremost the venue. So Alex has attended 2 sessions a week at Jess Jumeirah on a Monday and a Friday. Jan is part of the one of the squad setups with Coach Jordan, and he trains on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And Ethan, my youngest son, who's 7 years old, is attending a session on a Monday with Jordan. So my life as a father also involves being almost a full-time driver outside of work.
Full-time driver, full-time chauffeur,
but I enjoy it because it's my time with the kids as well. After finishing work, then I can spend a bit of time with the kids in the evening too.
And obviously for you as well, football's a big passion of yours. I know that from knowing you for many years. Yeah. We can censor the next part out. I know you're a Liverpool fan as well for your sins.
Yes,
as an Everton fan, I know we've had a lot of banter over the years about it.
Well,
obviously, you must be very happy at the moment as a Liverpool fan.
At the moment, pretty happy with how the season finished up. It was looking a lot better probably as we went into the turn of the year. Still in all the major competitions, but finishing up as the league champions, that's the most important thing. I think there's a rebuild required in the summer, but we can talk about that offline.
We can, absolutely.
I'm sure you'll be going through one of those as well.
We certainly will be, as a lot of teams will be.
Yeah.
Have you sort of passed that on to the boys? And obviously, I know that they've loved their football, but is it something that they love as much rather than playing, but do they sit down and watch games as well? Because obviously the pathways that we've created in the academy allow for lots of competitive football, whether it's end-of-term tournaments or league football. Is that something that they then go home and you sit and watch and you can sit and talk about as a father to your sons?
Yes.
But every weekend or through the week?
I mean, because of the timing of the midweek games, then it tends to be weekend matches that we're watching either on a Saturday or on a Sunday.
I'm guessing the time difference.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's mostly British football that we watch, and I'm obviously Scottish. You can tell by the accent. A long time Dundee United supporter through thick and thin, quite a lot of thin. Not so much thick recently, but having said that, qualified for Europe just last week. So I'm pleased with the outcome of the season. But the kids I haven't had to sort of coerce them into to becoming football
fans.
Follow
in your father's
steps. They've done it off of their own accord. And I'm always very happy to see them do that. I would support them whatever sport they wanted to do. I think the most important thing is that if they choose a sport, it should be something that they enjoy and they want to continue to go back to doing, and that can become part of their life into the future. I mean, I'm a great believer in, your health is something that you should invest in.
Absolutely.
I mean, none of us get any younger, of course.
No, of course. Don't we know
I like to see the kids, enjoying what they're doing, and if they can be healthy while they're doing that as well, that's that's my, I suppose, ultimate objective.
Yeah, completely agree. And obviously, we were talking before we came on as well. Again, going back to our pathways, we've got our partnership with the West Ham United Foundation, which you're mentioning that Jan will be attending this year. So, sort of the next part is sort of twofold. Is like one. Those added benefits that we as a company strive to offer to more so the children, obviously the parents as well. But as a parent, what are the sort of the key things that I know you've been with Elite Sports many years, but what are the key things that you would be looking for or need to ensure are there when you're choosing your sports academy for kids?
I mean, obviously, we touched on earlier the quality of the coaches. But not just as a sports coach, but how they interact with the kids. That's important to me as well. I mean, I attend a lot of the sessions that my kids go to, so I mean, I'm paying a close amount of attention as to how the coaches are interacting with the kids. The good thing, and certainly in my experience, is that you've got a great blend of coaches there. Some of them are very hands-on, some of them are very interactive with the kids. Some of them take a bit of a step back and get involved when they need to do. But the most important thing, I think, is that I can see that the kids are being taught the right things in terms of how to be respectful to the other kids that are in the group, because not everybody's at the same level.
No, of course.
Be respectful in terms of people's ability, be respectful to the coaches, and be respectful to the elite team that's administering the locations as well. Because obviously, you've got. I mean, I'll name drop Ruben here because I see him, on a regular basis.
Yeah.
He does a great job in managing the Jess Jumeirah facility, and it's good to see that the coaches always talk about how the kids should be respectful, not just to the coaches and not just to their, to their peers and the other kids, but to the people like Ruben as well.
Yeah, the hello and the high five when they come in.
Exactly.
How are you?
Yes.
There's certainly things that.
So there's an element of discipline being instilled, and I think that's an important thing as well. That we grow up in a society when sometimes people forget that, we're obviously living in Dubai. We're in a multicultural, multiracial society, and different religions. But the good thing about me having lived here for almost 20 years, that I see that you can have that blend and mix, and people can get on, and people can evolve, and it shouldn't matter where you come from in life. Everybody should be able to enjoy each other's time and company together, and I see that as being an important factor. When I watch the kids on the field on a regular basis, that's something that everybody's on a level with. Coaches don't treat anybody any differently. And
certainly something we've strived to ensure happens, and I'd like to think that's sort of focused on and is delivered in the boys' schooling and education.
Yes.
Just one thing to circle back there on was you mentioned about Dubai, and obviously very safe city and everything. And again, we were talking as we were catching up earlier about just how safe Dubai is, and you've got complete peace of knowledge in knowing that you could let the boys go off down to the local football park after their sessions or after school, and that complete safety and knowing that they're fine. One big difference to, of course, where certainly maybe we've come from, or don't want to speak too badly and ill of the UK, but that's not necessarily something that you would have that full confidence in if you were back at home or in other regions in the world, unfortunately.
Look, I think it would certainly be something I would be given more consideration to, especially for, Jan is 10 years old now, and here I would have no issues with allowing him to go to, for example, to Safa 2 Park. There's a nice
park.
Facility there, football pitch there, that he can play on the weekends. I can leave him there with a group of kids for a couple of hours, knowing that he's going to be safe, and I can go and pick him up afterwards. So I think it would be a different consideration if I was to consider that back in Scotland. As a 10-year-old, I think I would feel like I would need to be close to him, and monitoring him for that 2 hours. Whereas the situation here is that it's safe, secure, and I think that's obviously a general perspective on Dubai, more particularly, and I think that's why a lot of families enjoy living here.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'm half the duration that you've been here, nearly 10 years now, and it is great, and it's good to see that there is that, call it the Dubai bubble, but that kids here can get access to, as you've mentioned already, high quality coaching.
Yes.
Amazing world-class facilities across the city, and that's not just with us as an academy. That's all academies, whether it's swimming, basketball courts, gymnastics, tennis, whatever it may well be. So for you as a dad, you must be like, you've picked a fantastic place to raise your boys, grow up, and obviously get the benefits and the experience of obviously that high quality sports provision, really, haven't you?
Yeah, there's no doubt to that, and that's, I think, you go back to the question about elite particularly. There are, especially since the world came out of the pandemic, there are multiple more sports academies now that in Dubai that the kids could go to. A lot of big names and high profile academies. I've never had the kids in any of those academies. I know that some of the kids that were in elite have transferred over to those academies, but for me, I like the fact that elite is independent. Okay, we have the situation where there's the affiliation with the West Ham Foundation.
Of course,
Jan's going to go on that trip this summer, which I think is a great thing, by the way. He's 10 and he'll be 10 and a half by the time the trip starts in August. He'll be there with a group of other kids similar ages, and that kind of experience of having independence. Okay, I'll be in London at the same time myself, but I won't be there micromanaging. No, I won't be. I'm not that. I'm not that parent.
A topic I had on a recent radio conversation.
Yeah, I'll be muttering quietly from the sidelines probably, but not. I'm not the kind of dad that will try and do the coaching part. I think the opportunity for kids to have that experience of independence, especially at a young age, is important, but it's also within a safe and secure environment. And so the relationship, I think, with the Premier League club, West Ham, between Elite and West Ham, Elite maybe doesn't have the brand name, but I would say that, certainly in my experience of having been here, for the almost 20 years, Elite was formed, I think, 2012.
2012, yeah.
That's right, yeah. And to be around for 13 years,
growing from strength to strength as well,
exactly, and competing with these bigger brand names. I think it's testament to how the academy has been set up and how it's been developed and how it's evolved. It hasn't stood still and just. I know football was the principal sport to begin with, but if you look at what's on offer now, there's the we talk about gymnastics, we talk about swimming, we talk about basketball. There's the multi-sports camps that are during the school holidays. There's also the geographical expansion, I think, into Abu Dhabi and then into Saudi Arabia now. Yes. So the business is becoming it's scalable. And I think it's been done in the right manner. It hasn't been done from the top down. It's been grown from the bottom up with a great foundation. And I think all of that gives me the reassurance that my kids are for us. It's certainly the right academy.
Yeah, listen, hundreds of academies out there. Obviously, we don't rely on a big brand name, a football club.
Yeah.
We're a big brand name here in the Middle East.
Yeah.
The children are the main focus on everything we do, all the decisions we make, whether it's a location, coaches that we employ, which we want to make sure are at the top of their field to make sure that the children get the best possible experiences. So, look, there's so many academies out there, and everyone here is spoiled for choice. But it's had its bumps and challenges along the way.
Absolutely.
COVID was a big one of those. But we're here. And we'll be around for many years to come.
I mean, that's one of the interesting points. Just touching on the pandemic, how the academy handled I mean, obviously we had kids that were enrolled for academy sessions. We'd paid fees up front, and how the academy and the company handled the situation. Allowing
ensuring you got your sessions that were paid for.
Absolutely, and I thought that was commendable. It wasn't a commercial decision.
It was a principal decision.
Indeed.
It was tough at the time because, of course, we were so limited by ratios.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad here. I think Dubai obviously managed things very well at that period.
Exactly.
Obviously, the customers and the children were our main priority, and making sure that what was, of course, enrolled for or paid for were delivered. It wasn't a case of you lost this, you've lost that. And I think obviously we'll always be very fair in that element, and that the customers.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a business at the end of the day, but it's also a business that's with the right principles. In my opinion, and I know that talking from a lot of the parents who I talk to at the sessions that I attend with my sons, these are loyal parents as well. I mean, these are parents who have moved within different locations in Dubai. Some of them are travelling 30 minutes to bring their kids to a coaching session.
Traffic and
evening traffic as well. And some of them, the parents are not actually going home after work. They're taking their kids directly from school, and they're staying close to the venue just so they can take the kids to the session, and then they'll go home afterwards. I mean, I think that's probably an example of we talk about the loyalty, and you don't get that loyalty too often. I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful to Dubai, but sometimes people can chop and change quite regularly in terms of decision making. Yeah, because there is so much choice. And the point I made earlier about there being a multitude more academies now, and people can be seduced by the big brand names, thinking that that's going to be what their kid is going to develop best with. It's with a big brand name. Now, I understand that there may be attractions there, but for me, having the let's call it the personal touch, which I think Elite's a much bigger academy now than it was, when I first put Alex there in FS2. But you still have that personal touch. I mean, I know I can still talk to you directly. I have a very good relationship with, for example, Coach Jordan, Coach Andy, we talked about.
Yeah, of course.
I know Stephen, going back to 2008, 2009, good relationship with Richard as well. Everybody within the organisation is reachable, is contactable. I can talk to anybody at any point in time.
Yeah, we're not faceless, and it's one thing that we've always prided ourselves on is, I've not coached personally for many years now, but I'd be able to go down to venues and see players like Alex and many of the players I've coached years ago and still remember them by name, or be able to say hello and have a conversation with the parents and know these families, and obviously be personable with them, because obviously not just investing in a. That's
an interesting thing as well. I mean, you make a good point there, Matt, about how you've kind of been on the tools, if you like, back in the day.
Many years, not so much these days.
But you've evolved within the business. You've taken a sort of a management type of role in the company now. So I think the company's got a track record of developing good quality coaches into becoming good quality managers as well. So there is some career path there and succession planning in place. And I think that's important as well. I think having that consistency of people, it's the sort of same faces in the business. And I think that's a testament to how the company is run, that people want to stay with the company and grow a career within because it is a business, it's a commercial business at the end of the day, and people are getting a livelihood out of it. So I mean, I think if you can combine that with what you're delivering to the kids, which I think is a world-class facility and experience for them, then to me it's the cliched win-win situation.
Yeah, look, we're not perfect. Never claim to be, but we will always try and do right by the children and the parents. So, and along with that, we'll continue. But look, we'll wrap up. It's been a pleasure having you join me today. Good catch up with you as well, and good to see you.
Always a pleasure.
Hope the boys obviously continue to love their sessions on the field, and that Jan's going to have the best experience when he goes to London this year. It's going to be a real eye-opener for him. I'm not going to say too much about what they're going to do. I'll let a lot of it be a surprise, but it's going to just be an experience like no other, which, and you'll be actively part of that as well.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what his experience is.
Incredible. I've had the chance to do it once, and it's an amazing opportunity. It's a long week, but it's an amazing one that he'll remember for the rest of his life. So, but thanks for joining me today, Bob. Been a pleasure, and look forward to speaking again soon.
Thanks, Matt. Much appreciated.